always what it seems. Things won't turn out perfectly when you want to. There is one thing you can do.
Dr. Kenna Stevenson, we're so excited for the coming release of your book on January. You know, this is the Gospel of Women's Health, Awakening Athena Again. Who is this book for, and why did you write this book?
Well, this book is for all women and anyone that is involved with women. So I would say this book is for everybody because that's our global population. And I wrote this book as an encouragement to women to take control of their health. I believe that in the world today, there are a lot of time pressures as it relates to access to healthcare. There are barriers such as insurance problems, finances, and really the most important factor in a woman's health is herself, her mind. And this book is full of information that will awaken new knowledge in women at all ages and stages, whether they're 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I've even got case studies of women in their 90s. And by awakening this new knowledge and new understanding with affordable and often free modalities to engage in self-care, self-nurture, women can totally transform their spiritual health, their mental health, their physical health. And so that's who it's for.
That's amazing. And you know, I find it remarkable because you even work. She doesn't have to be a teenager. She can be still a young girl that is experiencing health issues, and you know, maybe early periods or something of that nature, where the family can help that child to be so much healthier. So it's really amazing that the awakening Athena again. What does that mean?
Athena is the goddess of wisdom. She's also the goddess of war. And I think that for many girls and teenage young women and perimenopausal women and menopausal women, getting the health care they need is a battle. And so we need the goddess of wisdom and we need the goddess of war to inspire us. And so that's where the Awakening Athena subtitle comes from.
That's beautiful. And how did you develop your definition of women's health?
I developed my new definition of women's health really from the misinformation and the miseducation. I think of my medical education, and I found that current medical models of women's health were very confining. They were very constricting, and oftentimes they were even diminishing. As a woman in her 40s who has not mothered and who is not married was diminished because of this focus solely on reproductive status or marital status. And I feel that every woman has a unique bio, psycho, social, spiritual signature of the divine design of her life. And so I came up with a diagram and explanation of the feminine life cycle. And that is prominently featured in my book. And you will see that there are 3 anchors. And I believe that women, no matter where they live in the world, if they're in a Mayan village in Guatemala, where I was a little over a month ago, if they're in New York City, Chicago, LA, if they're in rural Arizona, here in northern Arizona, where I take care of patients, if they can keep their poise in situations and steady themselves with the 3 anchors of love, and that's not just romantic love in a relationship, but love of family, love of pets, love of community, love of a cause,
love of self.
Love of self. Yes, thank you, Becky.
Yes.
So important. So important. Many women put themselves last, and that is not a sustaining position over time. The second anchor is faith, intuition. listening to herself, that inner knowing, that inner knowledge, that hunch, and following that to completeness. And the third is service. That's why we're really here, I believe, is to help others.
Absolutely.
And that's why we go through suffering, hard times, woe, also moments of tremendous joy. But it's so that we can lift up others, we can inspire others, and they can stand on our shoulders as they're climbing their own mountains in life. So the three anchors are love, faith, intuition, and service. But the antithesis of these three anchors is where I see a lot of women trapped. It's not love, it's guilt. And it's not faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not faith, it's fear. And it's not service, it's obligation. And so when their daily work and relationships is flooded with feelings of guilt, fear, and obligation, it's very difficult for them to achieve their best potential of health. And I often will ask women, do you feel that you are living your life's purpose in your daily work and relationships? And if the answer to that question is no, there's not a single prescription I can write, there's not a procedure I can do, there's not a test I can order that's going to help them. The answer is within.
Within, so much within. You see that so prevalent because I think society as a whole for many generations has been that women are meant to serve. And, being mothers, we have that tendency to always serve, but really, where's the self-care and the time for inner reflection and really caring deeply for ourselves?
Absolutely. And so these 3 points create a balance. And then within that equilateral triangle is a spiral. And that spiral is our soul or our psyche, the point of us that is moved when we hear music or when we see a beautiful piece of art or when our kids spontaneously show affection or appreciation. That part of us must be nurtured and is ever alive, whether the patient is on a hospice bed or whether I just delivered the patient and they're in the newborn nursery. The soul, the psyche, that is the central spiral. And I think that is also an orienting factor for my patients, whatever the age and stage they're in.
I would say that any woman that had you as their doctor would be so fortunate. And it's, just to be able to, and you do so much work getting your message out into the world and working with people to understand a whole fresh perspective, because many times it seems like there's a lot of doctors that only want to just prescribe prescriptions and off you go. They don't really even listen. And I know that you listen very closely and also really help the patient to really step into their greatness, and start to really go deep within to figure out just what they want from their lives.
That is true. That is absolutely my philosophy. And unfortunately, Becky, I can't take care of all the women on the planet, although sometimes I would like to. And that is why my book is full of scientific references. It can be used as a reference for healthcare professionals that are caring for women. And also, it will strengthen a woman's confidence as she approaches her healthcare professional about some of my models of care or wanting to explore holistic options outside of synthetic drugs. It is very grounded in science.
There is one thing you can